It's budget workshop for October 16th, 2023. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have our budget overview first. Kellen, Karen, over.
Okay, so if you start out looking at page 1-1, first page, general fund or the budget summary, we have the 4 funds that we'll be going over. Actually, 3 of them tonight, highway fund next week. The general fund, you'll see that it looks like we have a about almost a $9.7 million deficit working this year. So the main reason that is because we have we're looking to transfer money out to the pool pump room. And we also have money budgeted for the firehouse if we ever get going with that project. But there's also other stuff that I'll go over later on in this. The health and welfare fund, that is just generally a pass-through account. Whatever we transfer in, whatever expenses we have, we pay throughout that fund. And then the community center fund that Phil will be going over. The next page, page 1-2, that goes a little bit more into the general fund. As you see, we had a pretty good year with business privilege tax going through 2023. We're looking to get more of that money coming in. I'll go into that later. Same with real estate tax and earned income. I'll go into that later when we go through the revenues. On the expense side, one of our bigger expenses, if you see the finance administration, it's up 18%. Main reason for that is a lot of it has to do with IT security, and also our insurance has gone up a lot this past year. And then
Which
later,
insurance is health?
so
Liability? Or
so health is actually coming out of the health and welfare transferred down below. This is more the property and liability,
And workers' comp.
workers' comp, and then also the IT expenses really went up. We have a lot more IT expenses for next year. A lot has to do with the building, a lot has to do with the extra security that we need to have in order to keep our insurance with, right?
Yeah, so cyber insurance is very expensive. It's something that didn't exist a couple years ago as far as an extra line of coverage. And so to get the coverage, they're making requirements. So we have multi-factor authentication. We have a couple other things that we're doing now. And he has to do more, always doing more. Yeah. And that's so you can even get the coverage, and then the coverage is expensive too. So,
Sure, with
but you have to have
ransomware
it.
and hacking and all
Yeah,
that.
phishing and all kinds of
Yeah,
scamming, all
just
kinds
always
of
seems
stuff.
to be something else.
Yeah.
So then, also in expenditures, you'll see police went up a little bit this year, and that has a lot to do with the ongoing police contract and predicting for possible retro pay being rewarded. I think the rest I can go into later on. So I'll turn it over to Phil. He's going to do the community center and the parks and Recs one. That's on page 11-1.
For the parks, we'll go ahead and get started applying for some grants for hopefully to renovate the playground starting at JFK. So I'll get started on that in the next few weeks to hopefully get some grant money coming in like we did APD.
Does that include the basketball, paving the basketball courts at JFK?
No, that wouldn't be a grant. We could include it. We could. If we wanted.
Probably have a 5-year parks plan that would show.
Yeah, the 5-year parks plan is, I think it's like 8.6 in here or something. That's
Okay, we
later
can
on.
wait till we get to it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's later on.
So, and yeah, you could still, all this is a draft, so if there's projects you want to do or some that you want to wait till the following year, you can do that too, but we'll go through them all and you can decide where you want to put the money.
And just some other little things in the parks. We'd like to have trash areas built so that the people, when they have pavilion rentals, have somewhere to put their trash. Now they're required to take their trash, and they don't, so it leaves it a mess. So we'd like their trash to stay here, and then it can be easily picked up. And as we all know, we're getting lots of requests for pickleball. So our solution would be to use the tennis courts at JFK.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, and we did a drawing. We could put 4 there, and and Rick had gotten a price of about $40,000. But we have $5,000 we get every year from Covanta, so we could put that towards it because it's kind of close to Covanta. Maybe get it down to 30. That way there's a dedicated space. There's no issues with conflicts in East Plymouth Valley with tennis players. So that would be the simplest solution. And we have to do that work anyway, because as you said, we have to resurface the tennis court every so often. And I think Rick said it was time for that anyway, because the cracks there.
It's in bad shape.
It's in bad shape. And if we were going to build a brand new park, we'd put pickleball courts in, I'm sure. So that's one way to look at it. So that's what we have for parks. For GPCC, we're not requesting any full-time additions. We'll go with the 12 full-timers we have. But we would like to increase our part-time pay rates for all our jobs. The lifeguards would go up, the front desk, and so forth. So that'll keep us competitive and hopefully keep the part-timers wanting to work here. Obviously, the pump room is our number one capital. We want the pool to work. It's been running for 24 years. It runs whether we're here or not. It runs 24 hours a day. And there's a lot of people that use it, so we hate to let them down. We did budget for some new fitness equipment to keep the fitness center fresh. Do some other things in there, which segues me into the next thing, the fitness center. We want to cut the cord there. We have 10 Comcast boxes, which are expensive. So we have a way that we can get it down to 8, and people would use an app to listen to Comcast. So that would save us a good couple $100 a month. So it'd be a little more modern too. We kind of work on getting us a new copier. And as we've done the last few years, we have a sponsorship program which helps pay for a lot of the special events. That's where we're at.
First page.
Yes, the revenues first.
Where are we at with page now?
11.
Back to 11. Okay.
I know we're about where we were last year, maybe a little bit up. We moved some things around as we took our day passes and took it away from some other areas and put it into a day pass. We spent a lot of time the last year and a half, 2 years since COVID trying to simplify things as opposed to making them more complicated. So we try to make it simpler for the patrons too. This is the price if I come in and play basketball. This is the price if I'm at the pool and those types of things. So the pass revenue is up. The program revenue has gone down a little bit. So we'll be working on that next year to try to get our programs back up and going. Some of that's a post-COVID thing. I'm not really, I'm going to get back and get some more programs we offer the more money.
I think the 11.2 then starts the expenses. For the
Yeah. I really tried this year to kind of balance it out so that the overall increase wouldn't be that much. So we kind of took some things and some areas got a little more of an increase, like the fitness center versus the programs and the administration. We're trying to simplify our budget. Like I said, we had 6 different places for office supplies in our budget. It's a little cumbersome, so we're working towards getting that down to 2 spots. I'm trying to think of some other things to point out here.
Where's the pool pump room? Is that in a different area?
Capital.
Yeah.
That's on the
Yes, in the
capital, that's
capital.
what I thought.
Most of the newer stuff we would see would be in the fitness center, some new equipment. Fitness center usage has gone up this year, which is wonderful. I'm very grateful for that. There's more people using the fitness center. So now's a good time to reinvest in there, get some more modern equipment, things like that. We're going to move some of our rooms around. When the township building project is complete, we'll move, do some things with the rooms they're in. That'll help with the revenue because we're booked with rentals over here, so we'll be able to put them over there too. So it gives us, we'll be operating at full speed again, at least for the time being.
Well, can you just add a little bit more explanation on the part-time increase and kind of what that looks like?
Well, I was thinking we would go, what we would propose is $16 an hour for lifeguards. That's what the city of Philadelphia pays. So we felt like that was a good, it's not the private sector, but that's what they're paying there. And that's a good measuring stick, I think. Probably about 15 for the front desk and for the pool, for the fitness center attendants.
And what are they at now?
They're $13.50.
What are the lifeguards at now?
Lifeguards are at 15, so their increase would be at 10.
Thank you.
And that's where we want to invest our personnel, is having good salary compensation for the part-timers, so that we'll have lots to pick from. We've been lucky, we really have. Our lifeguards are doing a great job. And fitness folks, the few we have, are starting to do more personal training, which brings in revenue. So.
So in terms of the fees for a membership, how do you know where there are like point sensitivities, like where if we raise it this much, people will stay. If we raise it a little bit more, they won't stay. Like how do you know how sensitive people are to price? Is part of one of the questions.
I think part of the issue is we have to always remember the value for what you get for it. Sure, you could get $9 a month a fitness center somewhere else. But here, you get the fitness center, the pool, the gym, you don't have to have that to do the programs. So I always try to look at what the YMCA does and what some of the other community centers. When I looked last year, it was $400 for a resident. Here, it was $800 at the Ember Y. So we were essentially, so I was pretty comfortable with that. We were less than the Y. I think the Y is probably our best bet.
Yeah.
There's a couple public centers, Croc Center, there's a couple nice centers in Pittsburgh and Lancaster. But you have the cost of living is different in some of those areas.
Yeah.
So I think the Y is our best indicator.
What does the Y give you to warrant a doubling of the price?
I don't know. Yeah, that's what it is for the individual. So that's what, at least the Amber one is. So I don't know if it's cheaper if you go to the one in Phoenixville or the one in Spring Valley, but the Amber seems to be the closest.
Well, that's our neighbor, so it's
Yeah,
the best
yeah.
indicator.
Yeah.
So does that answer the question?
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
to see what the Ys do.
Those are the wise that come.
Yeah.
No, that's helpful.
I mean, it's hard to say, well, you can go here and it's $9, and but we don't have $9 worth of stuff here. We have a lot more. So I think that's what we have to stress with our rebranding is this is what you get. This is what's available to you. Classes that are included in the fitness. We've been able to increase some of those. So hopefully we'll continue in that way.
I have one other question, which may be crazy and counterintuitive.
It's all right.
But I've wondered if, thinking about like what Planet Fitness does, and we're not Planet Fitness, I totally get that. But they create pricing that's so low that you're like, it's no big deal. Like, we'll just join. Like, I'm almost wondering if there was a significant price decrease if you get more people and more families who join because they're like, hey, even if we use it once in a while, it's no big deal. Kind of like the Planet Fitness model, which is like it's not even worth it to cancel. Like you're like, I'll probably be back next month. Like the price is so low that people just stick around and hang on to it just in case. And I don't know if it would work. I don't know if it works in this setting, but I don't know
What
if
would you
you've
get
ever.
for that low price? I
What's
mean,
that?
at Planet Fitness, children can't go. And so what do you get to use the equipment. Do you get group fitness also?
You pay extra for all of that.
I'm not suggesting we compete with Planet Fitness or that that's the right pricing, but the point of just reducing the price to attract more families in who are like, hey, even if we just swim on the weekends, it's so inexpensive, it's worth it. Like, I wonder if we get more people at a lower price, if we wouldn't make, and I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if you ever explored that.
I was going to say, one thing is, I think in places like Planet Fitness, you probably don't have very many full-time people. So that's probably how they keep their costs down. We have full-time people here that are running all kinds of other programs and, other things. Like, would you agree with that, Phil? They probably have all part-time people and one manager.
Maybe they don't have the overhead that we do.
They don't have the overhead.
The
Yeah, they
pool
probably don't
overhead.
give the.
But there's something to be said to be
For
doing a
volume.
sale maybe, or some sort of special, like we're doing the 10% off this week, or even breaking it up a little bit. We do a summer pass where you can swim in the leisure pool on the weekends and during the day, and that's worked pretty well over the years. So maybe we could build on that. Is that what you're getting at?
Yeah, I'm just like I don't know what the number is, but let's just say
Right.
hypothetically, 5% of the people in Plymouth Township have memberships here as families. Like, what if we lowered the price until we had like 10% or 12% of the people in Plymouth? Like, if we just had more people who were willing to sign up, even if they used it sporadically,
Right.
if we wouldn't actually make as much, or perhaps, I mean, the goal would be to make more, not just to
Right.
reconfigure all the pricing and make the same amount.
Right.
But like, I mean, if we had 2 or 3 times as many people who registered, because it's not that expensive, and like I said,
Right.
even if we use it on the weekends to swim, it's no big deal. It's-
Right.
It's
Right.
inexpensive.
Right.
But we've got 3 times as many families here.
Right.
I don't know. I just
We
don't
can
know.
certainly take a look at it.
Maybe it's
The
reasonable.
Planet Fitness, you have to sign, you have to have your credit card on file, and when you sign and when you tell them you want to cancel after your year, they still charge you for 3 more months. It's in the really tiny fine print. It's really hard to get out of the contract there. Whereas here, if somebody says, I can't use my pass anymore, we'll either freeze it or return your money. We're not too family oriented, very family oriented and kind, and we pay people back if they can't use their pass anymore for medical reasons or whatever. We're more just resident oriented and family oriented that way.
How about this? Why don't I look at
Planet
some
Fitness doesn't
models
give
of
anything
public
back.
facilities across the country?
No. Yep.
And take a look at that. Maybe there are ones that are cheaper than there, and I can talk to them and find out how they do it.
Yeah, I just wonder
It's
where that
volume.
break even
Yeah.
is,
It's
right? Where
volume.
like,
Fair.
it's,
Yeah,
it's, yeah. I
It's
mean,
all volume.
we're charging less, but we have lots more families.
Right,
usually.
right.
Yeah, it's like the Walmart model, it's volume, but not
volume
necessarily
and-
quality.
And not
Yeah,
having
but I don't
full-time
think we have
people
to-
with
I don't think we have
benefits.
to trade quality. I mean, I'm not suggesting at all that, I mean, you've got great staff, the facility's beautiful, you take care of things. So I'm not suggesting we become sort of like the cheap place, like
Right.
inexpensive.
Right.
But not reducing quality. We just, the price becomes attractive so that we've got 3 times as many Plymouth residents who join the community center.
How do we know what that point is? How do we find that out? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean.
If you made it half as expensive, you'd need twice the people, but you'd like to get 3 or 4 times the people.
Exactly.
That's
If it
the
was
idea, but
Yeah,
if
how
it's
much
just
volume
an
are you
even,
gonna drive?
Right.
half the price and twice the people, you're still at the same
Right, but
price.
if it was half the price and
Changed
3 or 4
anything.
times as many people.
That's what you'd need.
Yeah, but if it were $200, Planet Fitness is still cheaper.
But we're
Would it-
not
would it
competing
be-
with Planet
Yeah, you
Fitness.
can't
I mean,
do
I
it
only
that
gave
way.
that as an example, like, because the
Because
model
they
is.
charge
it's
$10 a month.
inexpensive.
Yeah.
And because it's inexpensive, people are like, what the heck? We'll join, and even if we use it a little, it's okay.
What if we did experiment with a 2-tiered, like for instance, you could buy a membership that would not allow you to go to the pool, that it would just be the gym
Or just the fitness.
or the fitness center kind of thing, so that if you limited it,
Fitness center with the group fitness.
something like that.
You
So
could
a
pay
fitness
less because you
membership
don't need
and a
it.
separate pool membership.
I just wonder if that would be a way of gauging whether volume would go up.
I'm writing it down. You can certainly look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw you off,
No, no.
like you're sharing
I'm
with us
good.
today, but I,
It's no good if there's no curveballs, right? I didn't put my tie on for
That's why
nothing.
we get to you guys.
Let's raise revenue.
Gotta get on base somehow. But yeah, I can certainly, we like those things. We look at it. We have some people across the country and across the state, so I can look into that. I think it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, why pay $400? All I ever use is the fitness room. I never use the pool. Maybe I could pay $200 and
We hear that sometimes.
Yeah,
And will then,
that's why I don't
you-
wanna pay
like, the
extra.
volume go up, because it's like, oh,
Right.
200 for the pool fitness, yeah.
Right.
If you're just the fitness center, then I'll
Right.
do it.
Right.
And then you get, I don't know. I don't know what the difference, like how many
Right.
more customers you would attract,
Right.
rather than just giving a great discount to the
Right.
existing one. And then would it be that difficult to implement it, to control it?
Well, that would be an issue, because the building was built so that we added it, right, and we added on. So we had to put things together. If we were building it from scratch, you wouldn't be able to get to the fitness center without paying, but now you can, there's nothing that stops you from going in there with other wristbands. But we could take all that into consideration.
use different color bands each day for 3 different rooms or something. Different color bands for different rooms.
Yep. And those are all things to take into consideration, and maybe there's some technology that can help with that too. You can sort of like use it to get into the fitness center, they have a fob or something, so. And in terms of that, you know, the only one that really went up significantly was a little bit of our administration. having the part-timers available to us, we did some more hiring this year, so we'll have more hours that can get filled. We don't have our full-timers answering the phones as much as we did during COVID. And then the fitness center, and most of the expenses went up there for more modern equipment. Some of the equipment in there is 15 years old, so and I think that's something else people look at, you know, stuff that works, that they can get, you know, elsewhere, so.
What's next? Capital? Can we send it
Questions
down?
Five-year
on-
capital?
We can do the 5-year
Yeah, no
capital.
other questions on
community
that?
center.
Why don't you come up for that?
1125.
This is the capital.
It's your,
Capital, is-
yeah, it's the first page that I gave you.
talking about the building now.
That would be, it looks like
25, 1125.
1125.
Take that page. Where's the office? There you go.
Well, I guess, I heard Phil mention, I guess our big capital project for next year, we're hoping is the pump room. And not just the pump room, we decided since we're going to close the pool down or we'll have to close the pool down for probably 3 months to do the pump room. We wanted to do some work in the pool, in the natatorium itself, some painting, some acoustical treatments, and we may now have to do some work on our whirlpool. We think it could be leaking. So that project is, you know, bigger than we first talked about back before COVID. I mean, this is, we talked about doing the pump room before COVID, and it was, you know, $500,000 back then, and now it's,
$2 million.
you know, in that neighborhood.
Nothing goes down.
No.
Nothing goes down, that's right.
Is that it, the 2,023,000? Is that the
Yes.
pump and the
Pump.
whirlpool, or?
Well, we're right now doing some investigative work on the whirlpool to see what the problems are, but it could very well be there's some broken pipes. And then really the only other thing that I have is, you know, we usually have some HVAC unit repairs and then some pool pack repairs every year. You know, they tend to be significant.
The pool pump would have to go out to bid, I assume? And when was the last, did we put it out to bid originally?
We did.
We just got a rough idea?
We
of cost?
got some numbers from the various consultants. So we have a mechanical consultant, we have an architect, we have a pool consultant. So yeah, got their numbers and I think the number was 1.5 million with some contingencies and some allowances and things like that got it, you know, between 1.5 and 2 million. But I guess until we bid it, we really don't know what the number would be.
And what about the front doors? Are they scheduled to be done this
They're
coming
done.
year? Pardon?
They're done.
They're
Oh, they're
done.
done.
You press a button and they lock. So that was the key. You put the mag locks in, like the ones on the side. That way we didn't have to replace the doors. So now at the front desk in the morning, they press the button, it locks. And it unlocks. At the end of the day, they press the button again, they lock. If there was an emergency, they press the button and they could get in. And they're strong. Mag locks are strong, so they can get in. Thank you for asking. Appreciate that.
Any other questions about the?
What's the 2025 capital plan, 225,000 under floor doors and lights? Is that something big coming up in another year?
I don't know what that number is. I don't have the backup with me.
I got the backup here.
See, 2025 administration, floor doors and lights.
That may be a play. We're trying to revamp this capital budget.
Yeah.
There was a very extensive capital budget that was done that had it had every rooftop unit and every component of the rooftop unit. And it was kind of like placeholders, I think. So Kellen and I were talking about trying to, reduce that down to a way more manageable.
I think those doors, Karen, are those doors between the rooms.
Oh,
Those were
okay.
original, so I think we were budgeting to get those replaced.
That's the front drop-off area renovations.
Yeah.
That's why I was wondering if it
Yeah.
was those front
No,
doors.
it's not the front doors, it would be the,
So
The
Kellen just
divider
said
doors,
that's,
dividers.
Kellen just said that's redoing the front area, the porch, the front drop-off area, making the whole, have no curb, just the whole thing be handicap accessible. That was something that was talked about, years ago, and it's probably put in there as a placeholder. I don't know if we'll be doing that, but that's probably where it shows up there because it was shown in that 10-year plan. So I don't know that we'll necessarily be doing that work, but
Removing the curb on the
No.
whole sidewalk that goes down by the offices.
Yeah.
Much more accessible.
would be much
so the
more
whole
accessible.
front, just redoing the whole front
Right.
entry. We have a little bit of issues with when we get ice. Ice slides off that standing seam metal roof right where people walk into the building. So there was, I think, a drawing of putting some type of like porch roof there. Put a zero entry. The whole curb will be handicap accessible. Removing the planter that's out there.
Oh, okay. A lot of kids sit on that as they wait to be picked up.
Yeah, this was like a conceptual plan that was put together, so it's not.
So one thing I wonder, with having a building surrounded with no curbs at all and a parking lot, is there a safety issue? I mean, I know that people sometimes get in their car, and maybe Mike, you can speak to that more as a safety type of guy. Is there a concern if you have no curbs anywhere and people can just put the car in drive instead of reverse? Because you've got kids waiting outside on those sidewalks.
So there
You've
was-
got
I'm sorry.
the personnel in their offices. You know, people could smash into buildings.
There was going to be some bollards put out there.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, that's part of that, so people can't just accidentally hit the accelerator.
Yeah, because
instead of
people do
braking.
there.
Yeah.
So there'd be bollards if there were no curbs.
You'd need a lot of them, but you'd have to look at what that looks like, but
What's that?
there'd have to be a good number of them, every,
I think they,
6 feet, so you don't drive through them.
I think they were shown as like planters, like significant concrete planters that would have some type of
Concrete in
seasonal
them.
flowers in them or something, but yeah, it was all along that front. And I haven't seen the plan in a long time, but there were bollards as part of the
Yeah,
plan.
because I see little kids on that sidewalk all the time. I'd hate, and grown-ups, I don't want anyone to get hit.
Right.
A lot of people, when they back up, they stop at the hard curve.
Yeah.
That's when you know they backed up hard.
Oh, that's the other thing, the people who pull in backwards, yeah. So they can pull out. Thanks.
Any other questions for that, or?
It sounds like the
Did you
pool
look at
pump room has
recreation?
got to be done in 2024. I mean,
We-
otherwise we're
we
going to
had
be without
some-
a pool, right?
The bubble gum getting dry.
Yeah, we had a few things that we fixed this year, to get by. But if we're going to keep the pool running, we have to do that.
That's what I thought. Because
It's,
we already put it off before.
It was scheduled to be done, I think, 2020, so we're a few years
Well
past.
beyond.
Anything else on capital? The recreation programs?
So on page 9-1.
Most of these are pass-throughs. What we charge is what comes back to this. So if we want to run a program, archery, goat yoga, we charge that and we cover every expense with that. So that one, it didn't really go up. It went up a little bit because we put some more supplies in there. The playground program comes out of there. We had 100 kids this year for the first time since 2018. So that's, we need some more knock hockey boards and some more equipment for that. So it was good to have that come back. So That's our outside, that's the bread and butter of our Parks and Recreation operation.
Will you be bringing back some of the indoor programs with the toddlers and all, once the space is available?
Absolutely, absolutely. We're
Dancing
looking
and
forward to that.
cooking and
Yep.
all the cute stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a spot for them, a room with a restroom, and carpet, and that type of thing, so. That's where we're looking at with the outside stuff. That's Plymouth Township Days in there, some of the other special events, the concerts, the movies. A lot of summer stuff going on in that budget. Harriet Weatherall, not ready this year, but I'm envisioning we could use Harriet Weatherall, particularly the building, some more, and use some technology. We kind of cut some of the stuff out of there. We were roaring to go before COVID, and we've kind of dialed it back. And I don't like when things don't get used. So,
What do you mean technology?
well, if we were to put the right lock on the door, we could get more use of that building. You know what I mean? Like you swipe in there and swipe out, put some cameras there, and then we can get some folks using the building. I don't think it's...
Private groups,
Maybe we could charge them. Why not? I mean, it
pretty
doesn't...
tiny space.
It is, but it doesn't do anybody any good just sitting there.
What about that whole upstairs? Any ideas for that?
Well, we always thought about some offices and storage up there. We could look at that too.
The old apartment, you mean?
Yeah, it's an
So there's
entire
a loft,
apartment.
there's an apartment that, is not usable right now, but we thought, years ago that maybe if they had a nature center, that would be the offices for the employees, but so we haven't done anything to it. And there's a whole loft over top of the old...
The old barn?
The old barn, but it's not accessible.
Well, it's not, none of that's handicap accessible.
Right.
It's almost like
The-
fire escape stairs
The
to get to
the
the
classroom
Classroom
is with the ramp
Yes.
out front with the new, but yeah, the upstairs is not accessible. And it's the old stairs, the original stairs from the old tack room in there, so they're really not accessible.
I was in there when it was a
Yeah.
barn, yeah.
But I'm thinking that for 2025, we start to look at ways to get people more engaged. So that's where we're at with programs. Harriet Weatherall, Parks 5-year plan. Let's see. You can look at that.
So I heard you guys talking about the pickleball. So for next year, for the 2024, we have...
Did a draw.
Yeah, so I basically, some of the courts need, they're due for recolor coding. So that's a lot of what I have next year in the Parks Capital. And depending on what the, I guess decision is on pickleball, we could modify one of these courts to be, at least striped for pickleball. I know Phil mentioned JFK. But so next year we have the East Plymouth Valley Tennis Court resurfacing, the Field 4 dugouts. The dugouts at East Plymouth Valley are old concrete structures. The roofs are cast in place concrete that you no longer you can't get it anymore. So, and we have a lot of issues with vandalism at East Plymouth Valley Park, so I think the idea is we're going to take those structures down and have a chain link fence with some type of roofing system. We don't really know yet. Little League said they have a few ideas from other places that they've been, but right now the kids can go in those dugouts, hide. You can't see them. They're starting fires. They're spray painting. They're doing stuff. So at least this will allow them to be, visible when the police drive in. They can't hide in those dugouts. So, and the fact that we can't replace the roofs because they don't make that type of roofing material anymore. So anyway, so that's another project for next year. color coat JFK both courts, the tennis court and the multi-purpose court.
What does color coding mean?
Color coding is that when they come out, they fix any cracks and they recolor, they color the court. So like the tennis courts will be, the court will be green. It'll have the white
Put the
out of bounds
lines
So
lines.
they
and then
stripe it too
it's-
for the...
Yeah, it's basically repainting, I
And
guess.
all
is-
around the edges red or, yeah.
Yeah, like
whole court.
the basketball court of the East Pleasant Valley is green with white. The tennis courts are, I guess they're green with red maybe, but it's basically just repainting them.
It's $35,000, not $350,000.
I was just
Yeah.
going to ask that.
It's
Yeah,
$35,000.
I have a lot in my other one here, but yeah, it's $35,000 for
Okay, so
Caldwell.
Okay, 30, okay. I
What
don't-
page are we on?
86.
So-
So it sounds like one way or another you have to do that. It's just a
Yes.
matter of whether or not
Yeah, they're due.
to surface it for pickleball or tennis or something else.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, now, if we
It's
get,
got to be done.
Which makes the most sense for the pickleball, JFK or Caldwell?
They didn't like Caldwell because they felt it was sloped, and this coming from our meeting, and there was some issues with their, felt like the surface didn't, made them sore.
Not
Yeah.
building?
It's the same surface as a
They're all-
tennis
they're all
court,
the
so
same.
I'm not sure that that was very valid, but that's what they said. I like Caldwell for pickleball because it's 150 feet from anybody's home.
Well, that's what I was
I think
thinking.
I prefer
JFK is
it
kind of
there.
close to houses.
It's very
It
close.
is next to houses.
It is.
It's not close, it's
It
next
is.
to
Yes.
houses.
And it's,
Right, pickleball's, despite what they say,
Right.
it is loud, it's
Right.
louder than tennis and
I mean, the other
basketball.
thing at Caldwell is there's a pavilion, which is right there.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
benches. And
Restrooms.
well, we got to figure that out, but yes, yeah. So, because they're not open yet, so we have to get some sort
They
of.
gotta-
But there's also no restrooms at JFK. So
Correct.
putting it at JFK or putting it at Caldwell doesn't do anything in terms of restrooms.
Correct.
Because either way there wouldn't be restrooms.
Yeah, I mean,
there.
but Caldwell has restrooms.
It does.
We'd have to give
Yes.
them
So
a
we-
key.
we
Very
gotta
dependable person to give the
Yeah.
key to,
Yeah,
that's all.
Well, that's if they rent the
But yeah, I
pavilion,
mean,
they get a key, right? I mean,
yes,
that's the
soccer
way.
has a key.
Soccer has a key
There's a
when they go there
volleyball
practicing.
Okay.
I mean, it is. I mean, the noise is an issue at JFK. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
other way around it.
And I think
mean-
also with Caldwell it has the interstate right there
Yeah.
behind it, so noise isn't necessarily something that they're unfamiliar with.
I measured it just from my own. It's 125 feet to the fence, and those yards are big there. So you're. I mean, I'm not saying that. I don't know. I just don't want to do it at East Plymouth Valley because there are people that
No,
play
there are people
tennis.
playing tennis.
The
That's-
middle school
Yeah.
teams use it. I mean,
Yeah.
I go by.
You can't kick out
There was,
tennis.
the high school was out last week. There were high school boys playing tennis.
There are
Right.
always people.
There are.
playing tennis.
So-
It's not always full, but
Right.
there are always people.
They're going to
playing
end up
tennis.
having a conflict, and having dedicated pickleball courts is not out of the realm. And but
Takes
question-
the argument out of it.
It does. It does. So I like Caldwell. We sent them down there with some tape. I think there's people that are still playing at Caldwell because I was out there last week and there was
Playing what, basketball or
playing
pickleball?
pickleball. See, the thing is, it was a street hockey court and a basketball court. The kids don't play street hockey anymore. They're busy doing other things, right? So, why? Let's turn something that isn't being used into something that will get used.
Yeah,
So-
and that's in demand.
It's in demand. So Caldwell's a great park. It really is. The lot's right there. So
Well, that's not that big, but then there aren't that many people for
no, not
pickleball. It's
anymore.
just,
They
you know,
do
some
find
couples
us.
come and.
So,
Well, I don't know about that, but.
I think that's growing,
What?
the demand for pickleball.
No, I meant whoever's using it at any time. It might be
Oh.
like 4 people or 8 people. We're not talking about
Yeah.
a Little League game where you've got all these parents coming in. That's what I meant about
Oh,
the
yeah.
parking lot.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't put
there's
that
no
many games.
spectators.
Yeah. It's just the people who are playing
Does
at
it
the ground.
create an additional expense though? If we're already resurfacing at JFK and we say, well, let's do pickleball over at Caldwell. So, you know what I mean? Like, is that now an additional expense?
We're gonna recolor code Caldwell.
Oh, so they're both up for grabs?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
in
we're
terms
gonna
of
do
resurfacing.
almost
This is the time to do
everything.
it.
The only thing we're not
Downtown.
gonna do is the East Pleasant Valley basketball court, just because I'm not sure what's gonna happen with that.
With the
I'm not sure how
fire
many
station.
courts we can fit in at Caldwell. I'll have to draw that up, but I mean, anything's better than nothing. So.
You know, I mean, all I can see is a future of constant complaints by residents.
Right.
Like,
Well-
why just
Right.
you know,
Yeah, at
navigate away
JFK.
from
Right,
it.
I know. I
And
mean,
just
it's
go to
peace
Caldwell and
quiet.
say, this is where the box,
Yeah,
this
and
is
you
where
can,
the.
I mean, Caldwell has a hum to it, because
Yeah.
So, we'll draw up Caldwell and see what that looks like. Now's the time to do it,
Yeah.
you know.
But there's definitely pickleballers that go to Colwell.
I think there is. I think there's young. See, the thing is, there's the folks here of a certain age. There's people that are younger that are playing. I think
Yeah.
that's who's going
Yeah.
there. So, and I think if we build it, they're going to come.
And
Oh, it's not
if they're there
wrong.
already,
Isn't
we
that
haven't
a
heard any
little
noise
build it
complaints
the
already.
natural
They will.
No,
No,
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, that's right.
The one thing though, just so everybody's on the same page, is we're gonna line it for pickleball. We're not gonna make it a pickleball court
Well,
because
You're not gonna put the
basketball-
net up.
We could, though.
We have to take the basketball.
What about
courts out.
basketball?
You know,
Yeah,
So
and
it's
display.
we can do that, but all this is just, if we recolor code it, we can stripe it for
I
pickleball.
mean, there's a lot of ways they can bring their own nets. You can buy a net at BJ's, you can buy it at Dick's, bring it with you.
I think it's a good idea to just line it, because then we don't have to be on the hook for the nets.
Correct, and we don't have to monitor when you start to, the levels get.
And we would have to, at Caldwell, we would have to take the basketball courts.
Yeah, then it's probably better to have them bring it in.
That's-
But we could
Is
work
anyone
out.
using the basketball courts at Caldwell?
Occasionally, there's somebody shooting around, but there's
Yeah.
no, you know, that's
Not a
not.
high demand.
Dogs.
Most of the people have them at the end of the.
But then at least if we just reline it and have it
Right.
lined for both,
I mean,
if
that's what
pickleball
White-
falls
that's
out
what
and
White-
basketball comes back, then
Right,
it's still
that's
there.
what Whitemarsh did. I mean, they took a basketball court and just put pickleball.
And they're lining it.
And I think they're gonna do that at Miles.
They are at
Yeah,
Miles.
they did it at Zeus Park. I went and looked at it. I mean, there's not even a way, when the ball goes away, it goes down a hill. So, it's, you
No,
know,
I
it's
read
not, what
something
you're saying
recent.
is not out of the
Yeah.
ordinary, I think.
Yeah, Whitemarsh, their plan for revamping Miles, I read, does include striping the basketball
Yeah.
courts for
Right.
pickleball.
Anything else in the 5-year to
No.
discuss?
Okay. So
So pickleball at Caldwell, not JFK. Sounds good.
Only one person can think about being source.
It's hard
I
to
don't-
say.
It's
I also
tough
feel like
to
if
say.
they have official pickleball courts, they'll be happy enough.
I
They
agree.
really won't.
I agree. I think they'll be, we've heard them.
Mhm.
So they'll find a way to use them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Is Phil done?
Phil is done.
Do you want to let these guys go next, Rick, because they'll be quicker, and then come back to you? Is that okay, or are you in a rush?
Thank you for that.
Let's let you two guys go next, and then
I'll get this run up the front.
we'll let you get out of here.
I'm making.
So no-
5-1?
Yep, 5-1 fire and emergency management. That's number 10 on the list.
I can give it to him. So we'll start with the fire emergency management. A lot of numbers stay the same, although there are some increases there, as you'll see as you go through. The notes. One of the things we'd like to do is for our deputy assistant fire marshals, they've been at $5,000 a year for stipend for,
Where are we looking, which line?
that would be, sorry about that.
Sorry, I'm just,
5-1, is it
oh, 5-1.
second one?
The regular part-time.
Yep, second line.
Oh, okay,
Regular
gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, mine does have that numbers on. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, it says page 5-6, note 1, that line.
Yeah.
Currently, they're at $5,000 a year. We'd like to increase those three individuals to $6,000. It's been $5,000 since I came on as a deputy as 10 years ago. My understanding it was $5,000 several years prior to that. We'd just like to increase it to $6,000 per person. That's for 3 people. So basically it's just $1,000 for each of them. The next note is for, I don't know what line it is, this will be vehicle equipment repairs and parts.
Yeah.
Page 5-6, note 2. We'd like to increase that besides our normal repairs and parts to include also a cap and what they call a slider. It's a pull-out bed for the existing fire marshal pickup truck. Because right now, we've got a cap on the back and we're out of room. My entire back seat is literally full of stuff, and I got an extra little tub on the front seat too. So we really need more room in the back to do things, and right now to get anything out of the back, you literally have to open up the whole bed, climb all the way up in to get stuff out of I should say the front of the bed, which is towards the back when you're getting it from the rear. By putting a cap on, we can actually go up higher with stuff. Right now we can't do that. It got interesting for Fire Prevention Week last week because I had to take some stuff out to put more of my fire prevention stuff in. But this will allow us to do more stuff. The nice thing about the slider also is you open it up, you slide everything out, it's all on that slider. So you can actually easily access everything deeper in. This way I can also keep my turnout gear. Right now it's in the back seat. I can actually keep that in the back of the bed where it actually is better off being, because right now I have no air control or anything like that in the back seat. And what they're doing with cancer prevention now, you'll see that, especially with the fire chief's vehicles and the command vehicles they actually have an air circulation thing. They actually have a cabinet meant for their turnout gear that actually puts air in and takes it straight out of the vehicle so it's not circulating inside the vehicle. I have no way of doing that. I could leave my gear in the back. However, during extremely hot months and during extremely cold months, the stuff's going to freeze, or it's going to be extremely hot to put on. So I try and leave it at least a little better off. In the back with a cap on it, it's at least a little more climate controlled than just being in a straight bed with a cap on it. So that's the idea of putting a cap, the raised cap on it. I did not see a need for redoing light packages or anything like that, because the light package I have, I can just take it from the back window where it is now and just put it in the back of the cap. It's a white vehicle, so we get a standard white color cap. No painting needed there. The next item was small tools and equipment. That's a significant increase also. That's page 5-6, note number 3. I want to add 2 additional AEDs for our vehicles. Right now, my vehicle is the only one that has an AED. None of our other vehicles, Jim's, my deputy fire marshal's vehicle, and our 2 fire inspector vehicles do not have any AEDs. I'm not looking to outfit all of them, just 2 of them that will respond on calls more often. So I want to get 2 AEDs, 1 for each of those, so that should we be out there and need them for anything, we have it. But right now we don't. And that's a life critical thing that we can call for, then we can call for the ambulance, but
If it takes too long.
yes.
The defibrillators you're talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's automatic. Yes, an AEDs and defibrillators. So we'd like to get 2 of those. The next big,
And that's 4,000, right? 4,000.
that's 4,000. It'll be 2,000 each. Maintenance computer support. That's an increase in the past because our firehouse software, they switched over to the company is ESO. They have their own product now. Licensing is all changed. So the cost of their software has changed. That has now gone up. They have now actually gotten rid of it. We are completely switched over to ESO. And as of actually this past summer, everybody's for them has switched off. So they don't support the old firehouse program anymore. So anybody who's still on it doesn't get any more support for it. Fortunately, we did switch over in time, and we're actually on it now. However, their fees have increased. We didn't know what they were until this year. And then Yep.
So on the next page, the 3rd line down, the fire company donations, you see that increase of about 30%. And asked about 250,000 extra. We're going to be going over that next time with fire companies. They had some significant asks for their.
So it doesn't mean that's what they're getting.
That doesn't mean what they're
It's
getting.
just all the
That's
draft.
just a draft. Yeah.
Okay, so
And that's not part of.
That's
Mike's-
another meeting.
Yeah, that's not part of Mike's part of the budget there.
Yeah, once you get down to those lines,
Yeah.
that's almost all you folks.
Yep.
There is one line in there, vehicle purchase. That's page 5-6, note 5. What I'm asking for is to actually, is replacement of our oldest vehicle right now, which is our FM2, our Deputy Fire Marshal's vehicle. We'd like to replace that. That is an old police vehicle that I don't know how many, it's definitely over 100,000 miles, and it's got its own engine transmission problems and such. What we've been doing is, unfortunately, for the last few years, we've been getting old police vehicles, and it seems like every 2 years we're swapping them out for new piece of stuff vehicles.
Another negative.
Yes.
So what's the-
Right now, the one that we're looking to replace, actually, and I'll just flat out tell you, it's to get the odor out of it because it is an old K9 car. We actually have urinal cakes in there still. Oh yeah, that was the only thing we could actually figure out to get the odor out because air fresheners and everything else did not work. Detailing it 3 times did not work. All kinds of stuff did not work. The last 2 Explorers we have for our fire inspectors, we got 2 new used vehicles this year with the other 2 that we only had for less than 2 years. Again, needed new engine or new transmission, which they already had one of before that. So the idea here is to get a new vehicle. I'd be looking at getting it through CoStars.
What's CoStars?
CoStars is the state. How do I explain that one?
It's the cooperative bidding. It's already been bid. So we can buy things off CoStars without
Without
going
having
through
to worry
bidding.
So
about themselves.
$85,000, what is that? Is that a pickup truck?
That'll be an F-150 pickup truck with a cap slider.
The bed slider.
The bed slider that's going to be incorporated in this. We'd have to buy it later. It's all be part of that. I'm looking to get that through CoStars.
So you're going to want 2 caps and slide, then,
Well,
does that eliminate the cap and slide you're asking
no,
for?
that would be for the existing pickup truck that's out there. That's the Dodge Ram. That's a 2014 vehicle. The one I'm currently driving is a 2014 when it was bought new. It's got almost 50,000 miles on it. I think it's 47,000 miles.
Oh, really?
And what we're looking to
old
do
is
is, what's that?
How old is it?
2014.
He's
And
not
it only
looking to
has
sell
50,000 miles?
It
Yes,
just goes around the township.
but
Oh,
Is that FM 44?
that's FM44. So what we'd like to do is similar to what the police do the bump down thing. We get a new vehicle, I'll actually take that one. My existing vehicle will go to the Deputy Fire Marshal, Assistant Fire Marshal for response. And then in future years to come, it's not really part of a 5-year plan, because more of, I'm looking to do this every 6 years. Every 6 years, we look to replace one. So in 24 years' time, every 6 years, we're rotating through and getting rid of the oldest one in the fleet. And then after the next round of this, that current FM44 car, once the deputies, this will be 12 years from now, that will go to the fire inspectors. We'll replace one of the fire inspector cars and continue on that way. Or if the township needs to pick up truck somewhere else, that can go towards that. But that's the intent here. It's actually not replacing my vehicle. My vehicle's still going to be used. It's just going to then transfer to the deputy fire marshal.
but $85,000 for a pickup truck?
Yeah. Kellens was 90.
Really? This is why I drive a car, and then what's the mileage on those things? Those things are gas guzzlers.
Oh,
They
you
can
use-
be, but
you just
nowadays
keep
with
the
hybrids, everything
pumping.
else, and it's a,
Can you
you're
use
pretty much going to get a
anything other
V6,
than
it's
a
not going to be a
pickup
V8
truck?
anymore.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
to
can
be-
you use
that's to
anything
be-
other than a pickup
To
truck?
be determined.
What?
We could, it's probably
To be
going to, for an expedition or excursion, it's going to be probably more expensive to get something that big. But there's a lot of stuff we have to put in the back of it.
Equipment.
Oh, wow.
I did tell Mike that, and Jim, when they went over it with me, like, I do want to find out what the police are, they'll be asking to replace vehicles also.
They want
And-
3 vehicles.
Yes,
Yeah,
they
they
do.
want-
And I want to know what they plan to, take out of their fleet
And what they're going to do with them, too.
and is it better than anything else that anybody, that's just been the way it's been here. The police
Yeah.
get new and everybody else gets hand-me-downs. They stay within the township generally, and, that's the way it's been. So these guys know that that's,
Yes.
that.
Now, for my vehicle-
I think I have to ask the head mechanic, what cars they're giving up. And what makes sense, to
Their
hold on
cars-
to. And
Their
to-
engines stay running a lot more, don't they? I mean, they're always
Police.
out on patrol.
Yeah, there's engine hours and then there's actual miles.
Right.
So, well, they don't turn them off as often as they should, in my opinion, because you're wasting fuel and you're hurting the ozone. That's just,
Yeah, they are,
they
but
should
look at
be
what they're
turned.
wearing in the summertime.
Oh,
I mean, these
yeah, and-
guys have all that stuff.
The last two cars, we got two more Explorers this year to replace the two Explorers we got, I think, 2 years prior to that. One of which we weren't driving because the transmission was ready to go on it. And that was, I think it's is on second transmission already. They're beat to stuff. So we were pretty much only using one for the fire inspectors mostly. But we did have our part-time inspector coming in at the time, which actually worked out good for us. I will make a note here that the current one I had and the prior one were both bought new at the time. And for our fire marshal and our deputies, assistant fire marshals, I'll also point out that they're not, granted, we can get hand-me-downs from police, but these are still emergency vehicles, just like the police vehicles are, just like the fire vehicles are. They don't probably respond as much as the patrol vehicles, but I'll tell you right now, my vehicle and what the deputy fire marshal will respond with responds probably more than detectives, lieutenants, chief, police chief, stuff like that. Both non-emergency speed and emergency speed when we need to. So they are definitely emergency vehicles. I'd like that at least considered as well. The inspector cars, that's a different story. But again, with this plan, in 6 years' time, if we were to do this, in 6 years' time, they'd be getting what I'm driving right now for an inspector car, because then I'd get another new one, then the deputy would get the one I'd be getting now, and then they would get something hand-me-down. It won't be beat up as bad. Hopefully it won't be on second engine or
So-
second transmission.
The one you're getting rid of is on its second transmission?
The current, I don't know, I'd have to find out for that one.
I mean, which
It
one are you
was-
getting rid of to
It'll
get
be
the new one?
it's called FM2 right now. It's an Expedition, Expedition, yes, it's an
Expedition, yes.
Expedition.
FM2, and what year is it?
I'd have to find that out. I think that's a
And what
14 or
miles?
15.
I think it's earlier than that. It's at least 13 or 14. I don't think it's over 14.
And how many miles is on it?
I'd have to see. It's got to go have over 1,000, I'd say. It's an old K9 vehicle.
Oh, that's the one that stinks.
Yes.
Stinky Phil.
Much better odor now.
I don't
Nature's
think we use
miracle
the FM.
kills the enzymes.
We use the,
Needs probably
dog
gallons.
cars.
What's that?
I said, I didn't realize they use dog cars. Generally, we say, we don't want dog cars in the circulation, in the
you
hand-down,
shouldn't be
because they
handing down
smell
dog
too
cars.
much.
The-
Yeah, you can't get the
I
smell
own a
out.
dog, they stink.
The
Yeah,
two-
I mean, you can't get the smell out.
Yeah, the two Explorers we have now
Were
were not
both?
K9. The
Okay.
two that those replaced, at one point, all three of the hand-me-downs we had were old K9 cars.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we shouldn't be.
No.
And my understanding is
but
that those,
Police will be getting rid of three
Yeah.
if they're buying three, if you approve three, so.
And
Well, we'll
those-
see what they're getting rid of
Exactly.
and why they want
And
three.
what shape those cars are in, because after 4, 5, 6, 7 years, they still have some have a lot of life left, and they have,
So will we have that information from the mechanic before we
police.
meet with the police?
I'm
Can the
sure we do.
Can the chief have that available for us, or you?
Mike, anything else from you?
those are the big numbers I had. No one's any questions about the line items? Most of them I think are staying pretty close to the same.
Okay.
And there's no way you can get something that gets better mileage than a pickup truck? Huh? We just have that ready for
We could
100
look at that, but
going on.
then I
Then
I
you
have a lot of
probably-
equipment to put in there, that's the problem. And
Okay, that's
then,
what meets your needs, right?
yeah, it's going to meet the
And
needs.
you have to think of too, like, is the suspension system going to be good enough to hold
To
all
hold
the
all that
equipment, the
weight?
weight? And
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that go
That,
into
and
it.
then if we do something that's internal, like, let's say an excursion, which again is a bigger vehicle, that's probably more gas guzzler than a pickup truck would be,
Yeah.
I'm guessing. But then, again, if something's internal, now I'd spend more money, because we have to get the build-out
Right.
box inside for the turnout gear,
Yeah.
to ventilate everything out.
Got
With
it.
this, everything can be in back.
Mhm. Makes more sense.
Rest is yours.
Well, we'll start with zoning. If you look at zoning, there's really not a lot of changes.
5-3.
5-3?
5-3?
5-3, yes. There's $170 increase in full-time civilian. Vehicle equipment and repairs parts has increased, and that's due to the fact that the zoning officer we have now is actually using one of our cars instead of his own. Computer hardwares went up because the fact that it's costing more. Legal services, we try to get a fine line, and if you look over the years that he has there, 20,000 is going to be roughly where we are. Like in 2022, which was 20,000 something, 21 was 31,000. We budgeted 15 last year, and we're at 22 already. So
That's the,
we increased it, and that's something.
that's the pre,
That's all.
Yeah, it's-
Oh, that's the pre.
that's fighting
That's
pre.
free.
That's fighting
that's
pre.
not-
And if you look before, years before that, it was low, and then a few years ago, we had a high one. It varies. I try to get a
Depends
medium
upon
in
the
there.
action.
Depends,
Yeah.
yeah, how many cases you want to oppose.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Last year's was in pre.
And the other thing we increased there was maintenance and repair of the vehicles. We're already up to 1,495, and so I proposed 2,000 last year. He wasn't using the vehicle, so that's why that's up. The building section. Increase in full-time civilian pay. Office supplies has increased. Things are changing. I'm actually being charged more for like my toners and things like that, which I have to increase. I would be just basically be over budget. Books and materials, we're coming up on another cycle where we're going to have to buy new books again. So that was back, we took that back up to 3,000. I took it last year down to 2,000 because I knew I wasn't going, needed it this year. Office equipment and computer hardware were both increased a little bit, more due to cost. The biggest change is computer software and maintenance support of the computers. If you look at it, the numbers are basically the same of what I had last year. If you look at the proposed budget for those two was $50,000. It's $50,000 again between those two this year. I just shifted money from one to the other because I got the software, now I got to maintain it. And that's the only thing in the building that's really increased. Code enforcement, there's an increase in the full-time civilian pay, a decrease in the part-timer. Last year, since Jack died, I've only had my intern over the summer. We're going to try to hopefully not have a part-timer next year, but I still needed to budget something in there in case I do have to bring somebody else in to cover the workload. Vehicle maintenance and repair parts. Again, I increased it. If you look at what I budgeted last year, where I am at the end of September, I'm already over budgeted. So I increased that budget. Computer hardware, same thing. Costs are going up. And we're starting to have little problems with the computer, so I know I'm going to probably have to wind up getting a couple this year. Telephone charges. I've never had a telephone charge in here before. With the new software that we have, it's in the cloud, basically. So I have to furnish phones to the guys who are out doing the inspections because they have iPads. I needed them to have a hotspot. The phones are hotspot. Postage delivery, we eliminated it from code enforcement because the way it's built, everything's put on zoning. All the money, the way it's building and zoning when we stamp everything, so it all goes into one and it's all being put towards zoning. So we just decided, I don't need it in code enforcement, we'll put it all on zoning. Miscellaneous services, I increased that. We're still getting a lot of grass and things like that that we have to wind up cutting and then leaning the properties. Yeah. And code enforcement training and seminars, we reduced that because basically there's only going to be one guy there. Most of mine's coming out of building now. Any questions?
That's it.
You guys are excused.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
7-1, right?
Thank you.
Good night. You too, thanks. Good night, Mike.
All right. Starting at 7-1, is that?
Yep.
Okay. 7-1 is it's our budget for the township building. There's a few line items that went up, I guess, sort of significantly, but one is part-time. Over the last 2 years, I've had 4 full-time people retire, so we're trying to revamp, or we're trying to, I guess, I don't want to say move some people around, but there's some different people at different places now. And one of the reasons that the part-time number went up is the person who retired from the township building was interested in working part-time, so we kept her on. She works 10 p.m. till 2 a.m., which is great for us because, the police are 24/7. So we kept her on, so that's why that part-time numbers has jumped significantly. And then a few other items, attendance incentives, because we have, I guess, a couple more people at the township than we did the previous year, and clothing allowance. So that there's some line items that went up, I guess, significantly. Another one is small tools and equipment. With the new building, I would like to buy a auto scrubber.
what?
An auto scrubber. It's a walk-behind scrubber that puts chemical down, scrubs the floor, and then also has a vacuum and a squeegee system that picks it up with all the new flooring over there, the tile in the lobby area, and all the quartz tile. It's instead of trying to mop all that stuff, it'll be a lot easier. So that's why that line item went up. Electricity's up, water's up, the utilities. And I wasn't sure, under our miscellaneous services, that went up a little bit. We'll have maintenance bonds on everything, the chiller, the HVAC units, the rooftop units. We'll have maintenance bonds, but I showed in there, some service contracts. Probably won't need them next year just because we'll be under a maintenance, 1-year maintenance bond. But, going forward, after that, all that expires, and we will have to have that stuff. So, if we don't need that money, we won't use it, but it is shown in this budget. Any questions on the township building budget? This also includes the public works building also, so some of the maintenance stuff also includes that.
Yeah, that's the building and grounds.
So, buildings and grounds, this is all the parks maintenance line items, everything from, the employees to the buildings, the grass cutting, the trash removal, all that stuff is in this budget. I don't know that there's anything, I guess some of, everything's more expensive. Playground mulch, fertilizer, seed, everything is just like, I mean, at one point seed was, twice as much as it was, a few years ago. It's come down a little bit, so some of the, like the miscellaneous services line item, which is down towards the bottom of the page, that's up 17.75%, just because everything's costing us more money. Maintenance and repair grounds, I guess that stayed the same. But yeah, most of the increases are just because things are just a little bit more expensive than they used to be.
Did someone destroy that trash can at Harriet Wetherell again?
Did they? I didn't hear about it.
We're missing, you remember the trash cans that got exploded with the firecrackers?
Yes.
And you put barrels out there?
Yeah.
One of the barrels is gone.
We've had, believe it or not, I'm going to say a dozen 55-gallon drums stolen this year. I don't know if people.
This is on the Narcissus side where the.
I'm not surprised. I didn't know.
And so now there's a little plastic one.
JFK, we've had at least 6 stolen from JFK Park. East Plymouth Valley, I think the kids have a little fort area, so I think they take them for. But we've literally had a dozen cans
Missing.
taken.
They grew feet.
What are they doing?
I have no idea.
What do you do with a 55-gallon barrel?
I don't know.
That's been filled with bags of dog food.
Yeah, right.
That's what they're used
I
for.
guess they don't know that at the time, but yeah, I'm not surprised that it's missing.
I'm gonna paint dog food on them so
Is
they'll
it
know.
the green
what
one or the
it
blue
is.
one, right?
Yeah,
To replace
yeah.
it.
Mostly
They
they've
have
been-
them painted green and blue for
Yeah.
trash and recycle, so is
Yeah,
it-
but they're not labeled trash and recycle. Not the new ones. The
No.
old ones were, but the
Yeah.
new ones
No,
are not.
Well, okay. I mean, generally blue is recycle and.
Yeah, we used to have stencils that we used to put on there, but what happened over the years is like from painting on there, the
Crack.
edges got, so we haven't painted it on
Triangle
there.
for recycling.
Yeah, I didn't know it was missing, but I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so the little plastic one that was out in the parking lot has been moved over to the pad.
Yeah, we have to.
It was overflowing today, so.
We've been getting a lot of, like requests from, I think everybody wants more trash cans. East Plymouth Valley Park with football and baseball having fall ball, they want more trash cans. The soccer league wants more trash cans. The pavilion rentals want more trash cans, and we just don't have them. So this winter, we're gonna try and get a bunch painted up and be ready for next year. We just don't have them available.
Harriet
right now.
Wetherell seems to have enough, but.
Yeah, well, Harry, it's more like the parks where there's a lot of youth activities. And,
Yeah, and people bring food
Right.
and stuff. Harriet Wetherell is more of a.
Well, Harry, the one side doesn't have any. It's
Carry
only
in,
one
carry
parking
out.
lot.
JFK's getting bad on the one end. The amount of like bottle caps that get left around from some of
Really?
those baseball games.
On the Lucetta Street side or the
On the
other?
Lucetta Street side.
We actually just put signs up there because there was a lot of overnight parking. Well, it wasn't overnight parking. The guy who owns the gas station on the corner was parking the cars that he was going to service
The next morning
in
over
the
there.
parking lot and then going down and getting them and then driving them over.
My mom was wondering why.
Yeah, so we
what
just
they
put
were
signs,
for.
one of the police officers recommended we put signs that says no overnight parking, so now hopefully you won't see that down there anymore. But yeah, he was using the park as his service.
As his surface
And-
garage.
and then are
Extra
we-
parking lot.
Selling the space on the fence along the thing for all those signs that just went up there?
Say it again.
Like all the ad signs, like the Dick's sign and everything
At East Plymouth Valley Park?
at JFK.
Oh, I didn't even see any signs up.
Where'd
If you
they
look
go?
on the white fence,
The white
Okay.
picket fence?
all along the back, there's
Is that
like
Little League
advertising
getting
signs like
them?
Dick's and
Little
stuff.
League
getting
Oh,
them?
Little League
Maybe.
selling them for money? I mean, that's.
Little League
That should go
doesn't
to
use
us,
JFK.
it's our
It would have
fence.
to be the
Oh,
soccer.
who? Soccer's using it? Maybe soccer's selling
It
it?
might be, Phil might know about that. I didn't know.
But are they allowed to put that on township property? I mean, it should.
I mean, they have it at
should go
East
to the
Plymouth
town.
Valley, it's a fundraiser for the
They should let
sport,
us know.
but They should, yeah.
They should at
they
least
should.
ask.
Exactly.
Get the skinny
I mean,
from, get the
really,
skinny from
it's
Phil.
I will, I'll ask Phil.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't see it. I know, I mean, we'll probably have to take that baseball field out of there, down at JFK eventually, just because it's so close to that new development. Nobody uses it anymore anyway, so
No.
maybe soccer can use it. So, sorry. Any questions on the parks maintenance? Yeah, not a whole lot has changed. Okay, how about the township building capital? Is that on there or no?
So we're gonna go over that
Okay,
in the third meeting.
okay, all right.
So you have to come back.
Just, I mean, I'll just.
You wear too many
there's-
hats, Rick.
Well, there's things on there that, I guess, didn't get put into the renovation project, so there's some items in there that's, even though we got the building renovated, there's still some spaces that weren't really touched, so that's probably what you'll see on that budget, is some spaces that still have to get, eventually have to get taken care of.
In 2 weeks, we should be using the building, right? Kidding, I'm kidding.
All right, next.
I didn't
Not
specify
even
the
2
year.
months.
Oh, the year, okay.
No, I'm really serious. They're December 21st.
I didn't last time.
Yeah, I heard, maybe Monday, if it's not.
I heard January.
That's probably about where my money is, but
Yeah, I say March. I mean, I don't want it to be that. I
Thanks,
want
Rick.
it to be-
I don't want it to be either.
Thank you.
See you guys, yep, take care.
See you,
everyone.
Have a good night.
Thanks, you too.
Take care. Thank you.
General,
So then we'll go to page 2.1, general fund revenue. And this is, so the first thing I guess we have to talk about is the possibility of having to increase taxes.
Yeah. I can see that.
So for the first line, real estate tax current, I have it factored in that we're already going to be raising the millage by a tenth of a mil, or I'm sorry, 1 mil. Sorry, a tenth of a mil.
a tenth of a mil?
Yeah, from 1.9 to 2.0. The paper clips pack that I gave you, if you go to the third page, that's where it begins the real estate tax increase. There you see the current millage 1.9, increase to 2.0. And you can see what it does to the current assessed property value of $180,000. It increases it to only $18 more per household if it is increased from 1.9 to 2.0. And that would generate about $160,000 of revenue.
Wait, what page am I supposed to be
Third.
looking at?
It's the third page in there.
Oh, okay.
So taxes would be from 472 on an average price under 490.
Yeah, on a house of 100, assessed value of 180,000.
Which is our average, right?
Yes. And then the next couple of pages just show you 1.9 to 2.05, so 0.15 mil, and just shows you how much more it increases. It's really not a significant amount, but I mean, you truly don't want to be raising it a whole lot if you don't have to. We have a low real estate millage to begin with. I think it's one of the lowest in Montgomery County. But I also thought the other thing too was to take a look at the fire service fees too, because we're getting to the point where that money that we're giving to the firefighters is more than what that 0.72 mil generates too. So if
So we're losing money with.
We're losing money on that?
not losing money, but
No.
it's not.
Sustaining
It
itself?
It should-
doesn't really matter what you call it,
Yeah.
whether you call it the general fund millage or the fire service fee.
Yeah.
They're both based on your millage, and they're both a tax, and you have to pay them both. So
Right.
you could really.
Well, you recommending to increase the fire fee so that we'll at least cover our costs?
Well, you could, I guess when we go over the fire departments and you figure out how much you want to
Yeah,
give to them and how much they're asking, how much you want to give to them, you could raise the fire service fee and you wouldn't have to maybe do anything or as much in the general fund. Every dollar
You
you
mean
collect.
this is instead of the real estate, raise the fire?
Yes.
It's really the same thing, but
It's
yes.
pretty much the
Every
same.
dollar you collect in a fire service fee, you have to spend on fire
Fire
services.
Right.
So, but right now, we're giving them more than we're collecting.
And they've asked
So
for
you
more.
could-
as you
So
saw.
essentially, when
So
we're
you
giving the
could-
fire services more because we don't have enough from the fire services fee, we're taking it out of what we got from the
General
general
fund.
fund.
Yeah, we're taking out,
Exactly.
right, like,
It-
it's all general fund, but.
You know, it's one
Semantics.
thing.
At least the
Doesn't really matter.
fire service should be paying, fire service fee should be
might-
paying for what we're giving.
It might look better, you know.
I think it looks really good
It's-
for
it's
people to
optics,
see the
yeah.
distinction.
Yes, yes. And I just asked Helen to do a couple scenarios here, like, you know, just to show what it would look like. I think it's prudent to raise it a very little bit each year. The 27 years where they, you know, didn't raise them at all, that was bad. It really was
It
bad.
doesn't-
'cause
yeah, it doesn't help
It
out in
doesn't
the long
help,
run.
because
As soon as you
costs
see-
go up and you can't afford, you know.
Are you
you can't afford this.
recommending
Well,
the .1?
Lynn and Nick, just for your, since you guys are the newest ones, 8 years, there's never been a budget meeting where we have not been recommended to raise the real estate tax.
Like
This
a
is
little
just,
bit,
it's just
yeah.
that we've finally started doing
Doing
it.
it.
Doing it,
in
yes.
Small
It was always
increments,
recommended.
but it's helped a lot,
Yeah.
in small
Makes sense.
increments.
Yeah, we
I mean, I
you
think-
just don't do it for
I think at the
2
very
years.
least, like, the .1, and then you could even.
Yeah,
do
well,
Well,
the
if you
point
don't
one,
do
we
it
would
for
raise it for the
27
fire
years and you
services
don't
probably.
prepare the building,
Yes.
You get stuck with a huge renovation
It all
bill.
comes home to roost.
It comes home to roost, and that's what's happening.
Callan,
I
just-
think
and I don't
we
want to
ought
get
to
ahead of you, but you're also
definitely
recommending an increase in the EIT with that?
It's not so much, it's just a thought maybe to do it. So on the first page, the EIT. So our EIT this year, we're actually not gonna be generating as much as we thought we would be generating. I got a projection from Berkheimer saying we're gonna probably get about 8.35 million. And the reason that is down is because if you look on the next page, it has the number of employees or, you know, residents this tax is charged to. And if you look from the past 3 years, the number of that is going down, and we haven't been recovering from that.
Wait, why is it going down? Is the population going down, or what's
workers,
income?
number of workers.
Number of workers,
Is
so
going down.
who work in the township and don't get charged a tax back in their home municipality. Maybe they're leaving, maybe not.
It's the office, empty office
I-
building.
Is this the
Mhm.
office
Yeah.
buildings being
Could be
empty?
office
Yeah,
buildings,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
there could
thinking.
be,
And everybody's working from home.
there
And
could
the
be,
mall empty?
correct, there could be numerous possibilities.
But if they're working from home in the township, don't they have to pay an EIT if they live here?
But if they.
But if they were,
somewhere
if their
else-
office building was here, but they lived
Oh,
in
but they
Conshohocken and they now work from
Chalfont.
home,
Yeah.
Yeah, so if something.
It always goes
along
back
that
to your home
nature.
municipality, if
Yeah.
they have a tax. If they don't have a tax, I think Lower Merion's about the only one around who doesn't have a tax anymore. They don't have an EIT. They charge very high real estate, but they don't charge an EIT.
EIT.
So if a Lower Merion, resident works here, we get to keep that money.
Right.
But everybody else's money goes back to their hometown, because
But
almost everybody
All of
has
it,
an
or do we
EIT.
keep a percentage of it? Because
No,
they-
everybody, if somebody from White Marsh comes to work here, and their employer's here, but all that money goes back to White Marsh.
Mhm.
Just like, same if somebody works in, a Plymouth resident works in White Marsh, your money comes back here.
Right.
Yep.
So all the money goes back to the employees,
And
hometown.
it doesn't matter if you're
they
working
have
from home, as long as the
Nope.
business is.
Based somewhere. It
Is
has to be based
from
somewhere.
here, it's from Plymouth Township.
Right.
Correct,
It's
yeah.
where- it's your employer, takes the money
Yes.
out and then sends it to your home.
And if, the only
Yeah.
time is if you say someone working in Plymouth, their home municipality does not have the EIT tax, then we get that money.
That's Lower
Exactly.
Merion, we get to keep
Yeah.
that.
But that's the only municipality.
That's, I think, the only one around without it.
There's some,
There's a
I think, in
couple.
Delaware County,
Oh, in Delaware County,
Yeah.
other places, yeah.
Mhm. But not the neighboring. So, yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I can take a look and ask Berkheimer to send me a list of like the top employers from last year to this year, see if any of the major employers are going down. But, yeah, so, I mean, the past 3 years, we lost almost 1,000, taxpayers.
Well, okay.
So that's one of the main reasons too, that
So
It's
when we
a little
build
bit-
apartments, we're not getting EITs from all
Oh,
those
yeah, you
people.
will. See, that's
We
the
will,
good thing.
yeah.
Because they live here.
They live
They
here.
live here,
That's the
yep,
great,
they're
if they're
residents.
working, if they work. Now, if you have
Mhm.
retirees or something like that, they're not working, then they're not generating an EIT. But yes, if you have working people taking, most of those apartments, it's a very good thing. That's a positive of,
Yeah.
another positive ratables, tax ratables for
All
the
right, so if they
township.
work in Philadelphia but live in Plymouth, we get the EIT.
Yep,
Yep.
Mm.
yep. Yeah, no
Yep.
matter where they work. If they're working, you get the money. And the more people that you have, paying in, that number will go up. And I really think that next year's EIT, because of the Driscoll farm, that, they just put 79 new houses there. Houses were $1 million. I would think there's some pretty good wages to pay for those mortgages. So,
Right.
so I think that will help the township.
Yeah, it's just, I'm not entirely sure why that number hasn't popped back up. But you'll see later our business tax.
Well, I mean, they've been living here for about a year, haven't they?
Well, I think, but I think he just finished selling it out this year. So,
So
next
we'll
year
see
you're
it
going to have
next
a full
year.
year of, it's sold out. So you'll have 80 new residents with, I think, pretty high salaries to help, I would imagine.
First couple of resales are starting to happen,
Yeah.
over $1 million.
Yeah,
Transfer tax money
Really?
too.
Yeah, transfer
Yeah.
tax would be good.
yeah, transfer tax will be good when they sell. Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess basically we have to just decide, if and how much you want to raise taxes,
Are you recommending both real estate and EIT increase, or just real estate?
I would just, I think for this I just real estate. I would, because it has to come back eventually, the IT money, especially like how we're talking with the new apartments possibly coming in. I don't think it's entirely necessary to raise that again.
Okay.
Kellen, just a quick question for you, all the way back on 1/1, since it's all related. The projected ending cash balance for 2024 at just a little over 6, is that, that would take into consideration the real estate tax
Correct.
increase?
Yep.
And is that a number that we're comfortable with for the end? I mean, I thought we were usually somewhere in that 6 to 8, or...
Yeah, and also, with that as well as, that's also factoring that we're going to be giving the fire company, $2.5 million
If that
for
happens.
the house, or not the house, the firehouse.
Well, we'll have a bedroom in it.
Yeah.
For the overnight guys.
So it could be 8.
It could be
It could be
higher.
more.
and
I think
also-
it will be
yeah.
more.
And also, we also have $3 million in case we have to spend more for the building, which is a very.
Which is not,
Hopefully
it's
everyone
not a
will.
Hopefully,
far-fetched
we
idea.
won't. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another right there.
The beginning cash balance of 15, is that higher than we usually start with?
Yeah.
It's healthy,
That's very healthy.
which,
Mhm.
which
Which we heard. Yeah.
So our general fund is in good shape, you said?
we heard last week.
Is that what you're saying?
Mhm. Yeah, it still is, yeah.
Okay.
But there are a lot of large projects, and in fact, if we, we'll probably be recommending when we get to the sewer account, a sewer increase, another, relatively small sewer increase, just because everything does cost more. But if we were to try to do that project that we put off, and I did ask Carroll Engineering to help us get a grant, but the max is $1 million, and that's something, but we're not going to get like $2 or $3 or $4 million to do it for that Plymouth Interceptor. So we may have to move money from general fund to the sewer fund to do it,
To cover the cost.
to cover it, yeah. But also
So
additional apartments
Do you,
would help.
when you
pay
do
for that.
something like that, do you budget that? I mean, does the people who use it, they have to pay it with their sewer fees?
Well, we would never be able to raise the sewer rates enough to cover that. I mean, it would be too much, I think. I think we're going to need to take some money out of the general fund.
So they're only
to
paying
transfer
for
it to the sewer fund.
processing, they don't pay for capital?
You do. In every bill we pay, there's treatment and capital. Collection and
okay.
collection and treatment and capital.
And capital, okay.
But the
But most of the
capital
capital's
costs
a
are
little
so
like
high.
Ridge Pike and...
This is why
Well,
when
yeah.
it's sold to Optima, they
And
quadruple
and
the
this
rates.
project, it's like Ridge Pike, but we've been saving that money for years to put in there, that
Right.
700,000 for Ridge Pike.
Yeah.
And again, that was an estimate, so who knows if that's the right number or not.
But we're not opening the roads, so
No,
that's...
yes, you're right, we're not. It'll be helpful.
closing it.
We're piggybacking onto the county for that.
That
But
was a stroke of
but-
genius, Karen. I
yes,
swear.
but
That is a stroke of
700,000,
genius.
yeah, is still the amount. That was the estimate, so
Right, it's probably
you
more.
we really don't know until they tell you. what it costs, but yeah, 15 million is a very good balance. Six is a little low for our
Yeah,
comfort.
and there's always like a certain percentage that, we don't spend anyway. I think it's like a million or so.
You think 6, the ending balance?
Yeah.
Right, 6 million.
So this 6 is
Probably
if
that's
we
if we
spend
raise the
everything.
real estate.
Everything.
Probably
Yeah,
won't
we're
spend all
expecting
that
it.
9.7 next
Yeah.
year because the
I
firehouse
don't think
site
I've
down,
ever
we
seen-
need an
That 6
How much
million
it all
includes
spent.
raising the real estate tax.
Real estate tax, and also the EIT, but you take the EIT out, it still comes in pretty healthy. It's only about 350,000 less. Okay, then just to continue on page 2.1. So in the real estate tax area, I have it being raised by 0.1 mil. And the real estate tax delinquent and interims, those are pretty much, those are guesses every year who didn't pay their bill before and, how much interim bills are going to be sent out. But either way, it does have the real estate tax going up all in all by 4%. Down lower to real estate transfer tax, I kept that the same just because I'm not certain what's going to happen with the market, and it seems to be like with mortgage rates going up and the tightening of the market. We've had good years in the past, and we're having a decent year. But this last bill that came in was only the last check that we got was only about $25,000 when we're seeing it a lot higher than that. So I think it's starting to show that the market is tightening up, and that would be my guess, just to keep it at 750.
Yeah, I think that 1.5 was Amazon. That was the year
Yep,
Amazon
1.5 was
sold.
Amazon. Yep.
That was a huge
Mhm.
piece of money.
And then earned income tax, I would take that out and drop it to, I'd have to do the calculation, but it would come out to probably 2% higher than what 8.3 is, so probably around 8.5.
Do you
Just
think,
because
do you
there's,
think you want to leave the earned income where it is
I
and
don't
just
wanna-
raise?
Yeah.
You don't like
Yeah,
to raise
If we
that?
don't need to.
Yeah,
We
if
did
we don't
last year.
need to.
Yeah, well, so council.
But also, I think we should also consider that the fire service fee pays for itself. Do you know what I
Okay.
mean?
yep,
Kind of move it down.
I mean, what we're giving the fire company should be what we're taking in as fire service fee.
okay.
Or closer to it,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I'll just
Or
move
closer,
that
I mean, we're
millage
never going to
rate
match
down.
It should just
100%.
about cover it.
Yeah, it should, I think it
Yeah.
should come close to covering what we're actually giving to the fire companies.
Okay. So this year for the business privilege taxes, the mercantile tax and the business privilege tax have been great. The numbers are higher than we anticipated. I'm assuming a lot of that is just because costs of goods are going up, so costs of goods are going up, we're getting more money in from them. The one thing I do note is that for business privilege tax, I just got note last week that we are going to be giving out about $268,000 refund to IQVIA, IQVIA. I don't know what they do.
We've been
Um,
having
I
to
think
refund a
that's
lot of
the
money.
old IMS. It's
Okay.
billing process.
Yeah, because they're out of the township.
Yeah.
But either way, even with that refund gets taken out of, it gets netted out of the revenue that you see there. So we're still having a much better year than we had last year, or what we anticipated. Solid waste fees, those don't really change too much from year to year. Business licenses were up a little bit. And same with cable franchise fees. Those don't change much from year to year either.
No, they just keep cutting the stations that they're giving us.
Yeah.
They just raised the
Seems
fees
like
on the
every
bill.
month we get notice of more stations being cut.
I already went on my rant about that a couple years ago. I'm over that one.
You're all
Yes. I'll look at that billboard fee, because billboard fees, they should have an automatic escalator in them. They do, but.
They should? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to look at that. Jot that down.
So are they paying it?
Well, that's what I'm checking. Maybe we should budget more and bill more.
Okay.
That, all the sign fees we bill.
Yeah, go after them if they're not paying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know me.
They wake me up at night enough, so.
So page 2, the licenses and permits. Overall, I just have it increasing by 0.68%. It seems like they're on pace this year as the same they have been for the past couple of years. So for the most part, I've just kept them all the same. For fines, I have them increasing by 3.5%. Again, it's just going off of what I've seen in the past and then what we're hitting this year. The R-alarm violation seems to be up a lot this year and from the past years. Interest earnings is something that increased a lot, and that's because interest rates are increased. We used to get a lot from Pliget. We're still getting a lot from Pliget. I think their rates are like 5
What's
something
that?
percent. Pliget, that we bank with them. Pennsylvania
Oh, never mind.
League Government Investment
bank.
Trust or something. Is that right?
Yeah, something
okay.
like that. That sounds good.
But also this year, in May, Wells Fargo offered us this thing called a money sweep. They take whatever our account balances in our general fund, they put it into a money market overnight, and we got back the money. It's all insured, so it's not like anything could happen to that money. We have made so far, I think, about $70,000 off of that. So the money's coming from there too. So that interest helps, definitely helps a lot. Grant,
We miss ARP, don't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
grant revenue, we don't get ARP anymore. 2022 was last year. The fireman relief is just what we received this year, is just this estimate for the next year. Same with the recycling grant.
The fireman relief goes right out the door.
Yeah, it goes right out the door.
That's
It's-
their union relief,
Yep.
if you ever hear them talk about union relief.
The state pension aid, we received more this year than expected, and then we got our notification from CBIZ to budget about $792,000 for the pension. Inspection services, this is something that, if you do the inspections, you get the income from it. It's down a little bit, so down 6.8%, but over all the overall size of the revenue budget, that's not a huge variance for that. And then other revenue, these are numbers that from year to year, they just vary, so it's kind of difficult to see where they're at, but again, they're not a whole revenue. I think the biggest increase is the HLA reimbursement. We have a lot of Heart and Lung Act reimbursements.
Yeah, that's the police officers when they're out on workers' comp, and if workers' comp is like if you get hurt at work, and HLA, Heart and Lung Act, is when you're hurt like in the performance of your duties, which is a little bit stronger test to make. But the insurance company, through the Workers' Comp Trust, gives back up to $100,000 to us each year, and we pretty much use all of that, don't we? Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
This officer gets paid 100% of their pay when they're out, instead of the 66.5% or 66 2/3 you would get just from workers' comp.
Yep. On the next page, 2.4, reimbursable services. These are just all the services we get reimbursed for. The police EPS, extra police service, whatever we bring in, we get reimbursed for. So that's a wash account. Going down, they stay pretty. I mean,
The legal, township engineer, other consultant reimbursables are like for the developers when they use our attorneys or our consultants, engineers to review their projects. We bill them and we get the money back. The developers pay for that. The township doesn't pay for it. We pay our consultants up front and then we bill them to get the money back.
Yep, and the last one, tax collection, we actually get reimbursed from the county for collecting the taxes for them.
That's when we bill.
Phil went over the recreation fees. He expects them to increase about 20%. And like he said before too, whatever whatever that works for them, they'll whatever fees they bring in is what they spend on them. And then the last one, the sewer transfer, it's going to be a little bit more this year. We haven't looked back at that in a long time. What this is to repay people like who do a little bit of sewer work. 5% of the pay, 2% of the pay, 10% of the pay. It was an old calculation that Tim used to do. So I updated that, and that's what we if we follow that formula, which seemed to be pretty accurate. It was also something that our auditor asked that we should look into as well. So I decided to update that spreadsheet, and it came out to be about $420 $20,000 to transfer from the sewer operating fund back to the general fund. And it also includes our fringe benefits too, like pension and health care. And start the expense side for administration. On 3.1, not a whole lot changes here, just an increase in salaries. The last line, the civic organizations, we'll be doing that at the last budget meeting. On 3.2, finance administration, this is where a lot of the expenses increased. It's mainly computer and hardware, computer, software, all that. IT expenses is where you see it. It's $50,000 for computer hardware, $58,000 for software. We're putting $100,000 in for network and internet security, which is a new line item for this year or for next year. For maintenance and support, an extra $70,000 compared to last year. Going down more, the casualty insurance, that's another one of our insurances that went up. It went from $460,000 to $601,000. Workers' comp insurance increased as well, about $34,000. Unemployment insurance, $30,000. So then next to the tax office. The only thing that really is increasing, two that are increasing, is the tax collection from the business privilege and mercantile tax. We're receiving more money, so the percentage of what we have to pay them increases as well. And then the last one, or the second to last one, refunds for real estate. We are paying a lot more in real estate tax refunds. And from what I have heard and what I've seen come across the desk, there looks to be a lot more hearings coming up. And it looks like they're going to be...
They were suspended during COVID, so...
Yeah, so they put all
And they're
out.
winning almost
We have
all
one
of
at
them.
the end of this meeting.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that.
There's like,
Give money back.
seems like every week there's a hearing notice.
Yeah.
They lost money during
Well,
COVID. so
they're trying to make up their
Mhm.
fault.
Yeah.
Their losses
Their
from
shortfalls.
COVID.
Reimbursable items. This is money that this is a lot of the money that we get reimbursed. This is for mostly like for escrow reimbursements that we pay, and then we get reimbursed on the revenue side.
Right.
Not a whole lot changing there. So then for the fund transfers, debt service stays the same. I think that's going to stay the same for the next 5 years. The employee health and welfare transfer, which is our health insurance, I think today got in that it was going to be about $4.5 million. And I saw on that it was only through August, so it didn't include our 4 new cops and 2 new non-uniform, Marco and can't think of the other name. Public Works, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it was
it's probably going
Dan's
to,
cousin.
it should be a lot higher than 4.5 million, but this was something I put in before. We got those from Divot. I just saw how much it went up, and I read that it could go up 7 to 12%, so.
Well, so the percentage is only like 4%. Prescription was a little bit more than 4. The medical was 4%, which is amazingly good,
Mhm.
but we have more employees.
Yeah, so the
Yeah.
employees.
Yeah.
The next one, Community Center Operating Fund, I increased that by $200,000 due to every year that during our audit we make an adjusting entry to account for the community center's pension and health care costs. And it comes about to a net of $200,000. Talked about the pool pump room, which is the community capital there. The capital reserve is for the firehouse capital projects. That $3 million is for the extra money for the building.
Renovation.
The police, so the police MMO this year went up about 12%, and the civilian pension actually went down about 35%. So So in all, I think the total amount of the MMO for that we're obligated to pay actually went down for both the police and civilian pensions.
Questions on
And then 10-1. Oh yeah, any questions? So then on 10-1, this is the Employee Health and Wellness Fund, Welfare Fund. So revenue-wise, it actually isn't going up a whole lot. That's a transfer coming in from our general fund. What we do with this fund is pretty much create a wash of it. We try to transfer in as much from the general fund as we'll be expending on the expense side. If you go down the expense side, the health insurance, the third line down, that's where the major increase is happening from next year. We have more employees and the rates went up. And also the retiree health insurance went up a little bit. Actuarial services I increased as well because with more people retiring, we're getting CBIS to do more actuarial calculations for us too. Any questions for the Health and Welfare Fund?
Good. Okay. Thanks, Ellen. All right.
So I'll take a look at how much the fire tax is, or I'm sorry, the fire services fee is.
See how much
Yes.
we might
Mhm.
consider raising
Yeah.
it.
Or not raising it and considering what we're giving.
Well, yeah, I mean, generally you make a 3, 4, 5% increase to both fire companies kind of across the board. I think they've asked for a really
This year
whole lot
asked
more money
for
that you don't.
250,000.
Both?
We tried to combine both, yeah.
But what
For
percentage
their
was
operating
that?
contribution.
It was a lot.
Oh, it's 30% increase.
Yeah. Too much.
So that would add on to what already we aren't covering with the services fee.
How much was it in total?
The services fee?
No, the donation to the fire companies. So
Oh, in total?
So Mike's budget.
1.12 million.
Yeah, so, yeah, they don't need a
And last year was
30% increase.
877,000.
So they got a big hike last year.
And I didn't even put in what they want for capital because they didn't really tell me. They didn't say anything.
I do think for the first time we saw a combined capital replacement list
Really?
for the apparatus, which is something we asked for year after year after year.
Right.
Mhm.
And I think it is a combined list, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. I think I saw that.
They're definitely combining they're cutting down on vehicles, it looks like.
Yeah.
Looks like they're cutting down 2 vehicles and only want to buy 1.
Is that next week or the following?
Yes, next week.
Next week, the fire
Yeah.
companies.
Yeah, they'll be the first ones to present next week.
Yeah. And then you can obviously continue to mull it all over before
Mhm.
November.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of expenses, but like I said, odds are you probably aren't going to get to all the projects we have to get to. Very rarely do.
Right.
Just not enough manpower and everything.
All right.
Okay. And then we do have this one stipulation to settle a tax appeal. So I can read that into the record here for 220 West Germantown Pike, LLC. There has been I guess for the year 2022, the old assessment was $3,283,000. The newest assessment is $2,850,000. For 2023, the old assessment was $3,283,000. The new assessment is the same at $2,850,000. This is resulting in overpayment to Plymouth Township in the amount of $2,225.62. Unless the taxpayer paid their taxes within the discount period, then 2% shall be deducted from the amount of the overpayment. Is there a motion to approve this stipulation to settle?
So moved. Second.
Second.
Do you want to ask for?
Comments or questions?
Sorry.
No.
Seeing none, we'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Whitney?
In favor.
Ms. Bramblett?
In favor.
Ms. Bandish?
In favor.
Ms. Visia?
In favor.
Chair votes in favor.
Thank you. Okay, I'll let Mike and Alex know that one. And, yeah, I don't have any miscellaneous. Somebody have any other miscellaneous?
No.
Participation, so. Have a coffee.
Anything else? Meeting adjourned?